Hello, welcome to my video journal type thing. It is Monday, May 2nd, 5:53 p.m. Today I'm going to talk about a low budget short film idea I have that could be the start of a compressed air and mainly non-lethal weapons company. So moving forward, my plan is, because I've been through my criminal record, still haven't gotten that sweet cushy government job. And I'm about to go on payroll at the embroidery shop this week, I believe. So if you were holding off to hire me into that sweet government job until I actually got on a payroll somewhere and was going to nullify my disability payments, well, that'll be coming soon. 2 projects I'm going to undertake in the near future that can still be done even if I had a 40-hour-a-week government job. Traffic Magnets, a traffic magnet business. It's a non-profit to actively reduce traffic city by city across the nation and globally. Excuse me. Also, I've written a song that is supposed to, all profits generated from it are going to be to start a electric furnace company that incorporates an electric furnace into a smart home, and you can plug your solar panels and everything's included in this furnace package that builds out to be a smart home. So those are the 2 projects, but in addition to that, I have this proposal. Now, I believe that because of male chauvinism, we should establish an honor code. Male chauvinism is going to continue for another couple decades globally. We might eliminate it in some European nations and possibly the United States, doubtful. It's going to continue on for several decades as male-dominated nations continue to pass legislation to keep themselves in power. I believe that honorable men and women can solve most disputes and wars with pistol duels. Now, I suggest a non-lethal pistol duel, and I suggest that in a peace treaty that's attached to my website in a non-visible section of my Plot M website. I believe we can have dueling pistols that fire paintballs using compressed air, and they connect wirelessly to a module that will lock out the trigger after 3 or 5 seconds so that someone can't stand and aim for 15 seconds and hit their target after the other person fires their single shot. So they're single shot dueling pistols, 15 paces, turn, fire, you have a few seconds to shoot. If the paintball strikes a lethal part of the body, that person loses. The person with the quickest shot on a lethal part of the body wins. The dispute is settled. The territory is claimed. The other side must evacuate that territory, and there you have it. So, to start this weapon company, to make the compressed air dueling pistols that sync up with a module, I've written on my website about how people could come meet me, donate to my weapons company in Utica, Pennsylvania. And the basis of this short film evolves around Utica. So maybe you're in a Hollywood elite that wants to fund my book project Femme Party into a Netflix series. Well, here's a better, shorter, cheaper way that you can fund this. But mainly I'm gearing towards the military because they do have a code of honor. Most militaries follow a code of honor, so it makes sense that we reach out to militaries to adopt this form of resolving gun battles with pistol duels. It still requires practice, technique, and marksmanship, just like most combat situations require in modern world warfare. So the proposal for this short film came to me many years ago. It was an idea I had to show people around the world how to deal with a situation where the rich Republican Catholic man moves into your village, buys the largest farm in town, opens up a campground on it, puts a bar in the barn and a dojo, opens a bar and store in your hometown, basically commercializes your little village, the sleepy little town of Utica, commercializes and makes money off of that. And that's why some of the people of Utica don't care for Ken Bryan and his businesses. He's originally from Pittsburgh. He moved up and is commercializing my hometown. Now, who's to say someone like me wouldn't do the same thing only 20 years later? He's in his 50s now. He was in his late 40s when he bought the property, I think. Yeah, his late 40s. So who's to say in my late 40s I didn't want to move back to my hometown and do a similar situation anyway. I mean, I don't hold it against Ken Bryan. There were times when I was psychotic where I did hold things against him, but now we've always been friends. He's always been a nice person to me and to just about anybody else he meets. Other than trapping me in my house, I don't fault him for anything that he's necessarily done. So it came to me, that's the story of Ken Bryan. Over the past 20 to 30 years, he's moved into town. 15 to 20 years, he's moved into town and commercialized it. Our tiny little village with just a volunteer fire hall. It did have a store at one point and a garage / gas station. But what do? We're globally. There's globalization. There's rich people moving to remote parts of the world to form their own cults with their family and, espout Trumpism or whatever they want to do. Have their guns. So the Catholic Republican man bought the biggest farm, has a bunch of guns. He shoots them off on his land right in town all the time. So how do you disarm this person? So my thought process is, I'm no longer allowed to possess a weapon because I'm mentally ill and I'm a felon. I still technically kind of own 3 guns. That's all I ever owned. My dad has them. I've signed them officially over to him. I have a .270 Savage rifle, hunting deer rifle. I have a 12-gauge shotgun my grandfather gave me, which is a Churchill shotgun. And I have a .45 ACP, a Taurus pistol .45 ACP. So those 3 guns. So the thought for this short film is capture some back and forth of me going to Ken and saying, look, I want to disarm after the hunting season this year. So the name of this film is Solstice, or The Longest Night. What I want to do is propose this film to Ken. He sacrifices all of his, right, he's probably got 20, 30 guns, AR-15, everything. he puts his guns in with my guns, and we make a pact to disarm and just use primitive weapons for hunting. At least for a year. So, if Ken agrees to this, it's for my short film. What we do is have a festival in Utica, in the town of Utica in northwestern Pennsylvania, on winter solstice. And what we do is we invite one military person from every country in the world to come participate in this festival. Hillary, my wife, works with a French Indian War reenactor he goes and reenacts French Indian War. So in the fire hall, which is a pretty large building in town, volunteer fire hall, we have French Indian War reenactors in there with all their stuff. So people can go in there and get warm. In the town center, the little playground is where the beginning of where the festival kicks off when the sun goes down. And we have an artist that can weld. We take Ken's guns and my guns, we put them in a pile in the middle on the concrete of the basketball court. I dump gas over them, and we light them all on fire, and we watch them burn. Light them with a blowtorch, and watch all these guns burn. Then, the artist that can welds, is going to take all the leftover guns from me and Ken, all the remains of the guns, and weld a sculpture that'll take all night until sunrise. So people can gather in the town center and watch this person weld these guns together into a sculpture. They can go into the fire hall, get food, drinks, beer. It's a fundraiser for the volunteer fire department in Utica. So they can talk to French Indian War reenactors. Then down at the old gas station is the medieval reenactors. They have a location in Utica. It's an old gas station garage that they've turned into a trading post. And two college professors in town are medieval reenactors. So they have a group of reenactors that do that. So you can go into the garage and see all the medieval stuff. They'll have axe throwing, everything like that. Then you can go up to Ken's property where you can park an RV on his campground. We'll have fire going in his barn. Drinks being served in the bar up there. Food, possibly food trucks down in Utica. So it's a big festival. So at the beginning of the film, I go to Ken, I talk to him about this thing, pitch him something probably more put together than this. This is the first time I've ever pitched it out loud. Then I go to the Utica Council and ask for permission, for a permit or something, to have a festival go through the entire night on winter solstice. If I need to, I'll knock on all 100 doors in Utica to get permission from everyone. I'll explain how this is a fundraiser, how this can benefit them, how I'm making a film. We have bands play in the town square to a certain hour while the person's welding the guns together. And the short film is like a documentary style film where we have me getting permission to put this festival together. And just in the background, you don't actually know that these are all different military personnel enjoying the festival. We don't explain that. But we move from the kickoff where the guns are burning, we cut in with the welding, we cut some of the music in, we interview some of the French Indian War people, they're talking about that. They're talking about their impression of Ken, the rich guy that moved to town. We talk to the medieval reenactors, their impression, the French Indian War reenactors, their impression of me, the hometown guy that grew up in Utica his whole life, and their impression of Ken. Same with the medieval reenactors. Then we go up to Ken's barn, we talk to Ken himself, he explains his viewpoints on things, and you kind of gather what happened here. The rich guy with the good job, 100K plus a year, more than anybody in that town really made, moved to town, bought the largest farm. It's kind of, you glean that from it. We don't just come out and explain it right at the beginning. But so Mitch wanted to disarm him, encourage just hunting with primitive weapons for a year. Now, ideally, when we raise funds for this short film, I'm thinking $10,000, $20,000 to shoot this thing, to put this all together, maybe $30,000. Part of that is included the price to replace all or most of Ken's guns. We don't tell the viewers that. They think that he's given up guns for the foreseeable future. So it's a big thing. I had to give up guns. Now he has to give up guns if he's going to commercialize my hometown. Now, if anybody knows rich, white, Catholic Republicans, they love their guns. They're not going to. It's going to kill them to watch them burn in the town square. So we start out this year, the first year, which probably won't be the December of 2022, but maybe December of 2023, with just one representative from each military invited. They could bring the seed money to start this weapons company, the paintball, compressed air paintball, single shot dueling pistols that sync up with wireless waves. So they bring the seed money into the United States. At the end of the festival, when the sun rises, I sing, I get on the microphone, and I say, Ken, it's great that you've given up your guns, but next year I challenge you to a duel. Then I sing Electric Light Orchestra's song Showdown in my Johnny Cash voice, and it would be awesome if Electric Light Orchestra was actually there and played the backup band, and we shared a vocal with the singer of ELO. And that's the end of the film. Year 2, this festival continues every year. A winter solstice festival in Utica, Pennsylvania. Year 2, I have the seed money. I've started the process of building these dueling pistols. I have the prototypes. Year 2, maybe there's a delegation of military personnel, 2 or 3 from each nation, come to enjoy the festival. Possibly they donate decommissioned weapons that they have to build this year's sculpture. And every year the sculpture is sold, and the idea is the sculpture is sold to recoup the money to replace Ken's guns or to raise money for common sense. I enjoy recreational guns. I don't see banning assault rifles if you can use them recreationally. But common sense gun registrations, I'll say, I think they should be registered like vehicles. We're allowed to drive a vehicle that can kill someone, but we have to register it with the state, and I think the same should be done with guns. I'm not going to lie. But I have tactics and strategies that make sense to get some of the gun problems in the United States under control. So that's where some of that money will be used from. Anyway, on to year 2. We start out at sundown with me and Ken with the compressed air paintball dueling pistols, and we have a duel. I guess in year 2, the duel resolves whether Ken can replace his guns. Right? If he wins, he can replenish his gun supply. If I win, he has to go another year without any guns in his house. So it's how do you get a borderline mentally ill person? I mean, they're in a cult, somewhat Catholicism, Christianity. I won't even go into Trumpism, and I mean, I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't want to insult Catholics, but they've had some missteps in the past. Anyway, year 2 starts out with the pistol duel with the paintball guns. That's how we introduce this dueling process to the world. It's the second year of this independent, full-length documentary-style film. We have shots of the festival, people in the background, same thing, interview medieval reenactors, French Indian War reenactors. They explain some of the history. Same thing with the first year. But year 2, there's a Boy Scout camp called Custalouga Town, upstream, up the French Creek from Utica. It's a huge property, a couple hundred acres, I think. They have a Native American powwow every year, where Native Americans do different ceremonies and dances. So for year 2, I will personally reach out, once I start this weapons company, to every indigenous tribe in the United States and ask them to send a representative to stay at Custalouga Town, to camp on winter solstice in Custalouga Town, 3 or 4 miles away from Utica. So now we venture up to Custalouga Town, where some of the indigenous tribes are represented, and I explain that I want to give the dueling pistol sets, one set to every tribe in the United States, and offer them an extremely low discount, like at cost to build them, for them to purchase these sets, any additional sets that they want. So they'll be the first people to get access to these compressed air powered dueling pistols. So that's year 2. So that's 2 hour-and-a-half films that can be shot on really low budgets. All money raised can go towards building the weapons company. I said I'd use common sense gun control, but I won't use any money generated from these films for that. I have other avenues that I can put out there to raise money for that. So it'll be to start the weapons company and to subsidize dueling pistol sets for indigenous tribes, first in the United States, then hypothetically in other nations. Now, because the militaries came together and funded the seed money to start this weapons company, they will naturally get access to these compressed air dueling pistols in due time before they're widely released to the public. So year 2 will be a delayed release on the film until indigenous tribes have the sets of dueling pistols, and some militaries that have cooperated and collaborated on a better version of the peace treaty I proposed will get access to these dueling pistols. So that's my proposal. I think if men were honorable and didn't want to just screw over their neighbor, they would solve their problems with duels. Honorable duels. So that's my proposal. Like I said, $20,000-$30,000 should cover the seed money to get the festival off the ground. Food trucks will come for free if you have a couple hundred people coming. The French Indian War reenactors will probably take a donation to come out, spend the night drinking beer and talking shop with medieval war reenactors. Todd Elford, the college professor in town, I can talk to him. He'd probably be happy to see Ken Bryan burn his guns in the town square. They're medieval reenactors, so they don't need guns. They don't use guns. I think it would be an interesting piece. So if you'd like to coordinate that with me, contact me through my websites, call me on the phone, give me that sweet government job, and I'll try to coordinate it from there. Hire Djibouti. You can hire me into your government, and I'll coordinate it from Djibouti. So if you're a underdeveloped nation somewhere out there and can pay me $40,000 or $50,000 a year, basically what I make now, then I'll fly to your country and use your Foreign Affairs Department or your military department to formulate a letter that I can send to every military using snail mail so that it cannot be hacked and there's no digital record of this. Set the date. I can coordinate back in Utica, set the date, and just extend an invitation from the Djiboutian military to come to this festival. Probably need some coordination from the U.S. government to allow all these people to fly in at one time and drive up to Utica. You don't have to camp in an RV. Basically the idea is you stay up all night anyway, drinking and eating food. So there's hotels in Franklin, there's hotels in Meadville you can stay at. You can drive out to Utica for the night and party it up and have a good time, listen to live music and things like that. So that's the idea. Get a hold of me if you want to see it happen. Otherwise, I have other projects that I'm focused on. So this is one I've had in the back of my head for a long time, the film idea, and I think I combine it with the seed money for the weapons company, and that way I can hire engineers to design the compressed air pistols and develop the prototypes. Don't know how much that'll cost, but it'll probably be over $100K, I would say, to contract an engineer to pass patents and things like that. Probably close to $1 million actually would do it, but I'm happy with $20,000 or $30,000 to get the festival off the ground. Thanks for watching. Join me next time.